I don't really know anything about music. It's more a way of looking at the world. If you're paying attention, the thing that you are looking for is being either whispered or screamed at you in the outside world if you're paying attention. The belief part of it is a huge part of the conversation about everything. What we believe has power. If we believe we can make something great, the chances of us making something great are better than if we don't believe we can. So I would say any ability to harness your belief on your behalf is a really healthy thing to do.
And for someone like you, you seem to go on feel a lot, or just like what resonates with you.
That's it. It's all everything I do is just personal taste, and it's what the book's about. Is like really for people to trust, artists to trust in themselves, make something that speaks to themselves, and hopefully someone else will like it. But you can't second guess your own taste for what someone else is going to like. It won't be good.
Right.
We're not smart enough to know what someone else is going to like. To make something. Well, I don't really like it, but I think this group of people like it. It's a bad way to play the game of music or art. You have to do what's personal to you, take it as far as you could go, really push the boundaries, and people will resonate with it if they're supposed to resonate with it, but you can't get there the other way. The other way is a dead-end path. It's more a way of looking at the world and wanting it to be the best it could possibly be and doing whatever it takes to be the best it could possibly be and being true to knowing that no one else knows. I'm not saying I know, but that everyone's idea is as valuable as mine. We're all creators. So the first thing is I wouldn't rely on language to do it. It would be more of a making a suggestion of something that's actionable. We try it, and then we have more data. And either we're moving in a good direction or we're moving away from it. We're moving towards it or away from it, and we never know. And so it's always an experiment. And maybe a simple way to talk about it would be like if I gave you 2 dishes of food and asked you to taste them and tell me which one you like better. Usually it's pretty straightforward. When you have 2 choices, which you like better. And I think most creativity can be boiled down to that. That's very different than, I wonder how this is going to perform on certain social media platforms. That's different than, what is it? When I'm tasting these 2 things, which is the one I want to finish eating? And if I were to say, I like this one better, but it needs a little salt, and then put a little salt on, it's like, maybe I put too much salt. And when you taste it, it's like, it's that simple. Being in tune enough with ourselves to really know how we feel in the face of knowing that other people might feel very differently, which is part of the challenge. It's like, if everyone tells you A, and you listen and you're like, that's B. As an artist, it's important to be able to say, to me, it's B. There are no right answers for anything involved in art. We're all trying experiments to find a way. And even for the things that I work on, I don't have a set way that I do anything. I come to every project blank and I really listen to what the artist plays and says, and through what they explain they want to do, help find the best way to get there. Most of us select from an endless number of data points available to us as a species, to make sure that we don't die and to procreate and to feed ourselves are probably the primary functions first. And then we learn things about what's right and what's wrong, and we learn things about how to do certain things, or we're inspired by someone who makes something we love and we want to do it the way they do it. And all of those things undermine the purity of the creative process. They can be tools to build your skill set to be able to do it yourself. Like if you're a singer, you might imitate a singer you really like for a while to get good at it, and then eventually come to find your own voice. It doesn't always start with your own voice. But if you're 3 years old or 5 years old and you try singing, you're not singing like anyone else. You're singing with your own voice. And when you make something, you're making it based on not knowing. And I think I had the advantage early in my career of starting making music without any experience, which was helpful because I didn't know what rules I was breaking. And so it wasn't intentional breaking of rules. I just did what seemed right to me. But I didn't realize that I was doing things that other people wouldn't do. It's heavy stuff, and it's not understandable. We really are talking about magic. We're talking about like the universe conspiring on our behalf if we let it. And to be in this flow of catching these waves that anyone can catch if you're trying to catch it, you're open to it, you see it coming, you take off on every chance you get, and sometimes the ride happens, and it's remarkable. It's remarkable how it happens. And it doesn't come from, it's not preconceived, it's not an idea, it's through the doing. These things that want to be, that the universe wants to happen now, comes through us. And if we don't do it, maybe someone else will do it. Understanding how you feel in the face of other voices without second guessing yourself is probably the single most important thing to practice as an artist, or skill set to develop as an artist, is to know how you feel and own your feelings. And the key to that is not, I know, so I know what's right for you. It doesn't work that way. It's just, I know from me. And the reason I chose to be an artist is to demonstrate this is how I see it. Undermining my taste for some commercial idea, or it defeats the whole purpose of doing this. That's not what this process is about. This process is, I'm doing me and I'm showing you who I am, and you can like it or not, but either way, this is still how I see it. It's recognizing something that seems really obvious once you see it, but seems like nobody else sees it or no one else points it out. And I feel like science is like that too, because how much of science, once the light flashes over your head, it's like, I got it. It just seems like, we knew that forever. No one knew it, but do you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's so obvious.
Absolutely.
It's so obvious. And I think another superpower of artists is this accepting we don't know anything. When we think we know things, that also limits our world. We think we know. It's only like this. This is all that's possible. We're mice in this little box. But in reality, who's to say that's the case? Who's to say we could take all of the what we believe in science now and decide to throw all of that away and start from scratch. And we'd probably create a whole different one. But there's always a sense of anxiety because I know whatever's going to happen is completely out of my control. Something either interesting or not will appear. And then we're going to follow that wherever it goes. And until something appears for us to follow, I have a lot of anxiety. I show up ready for it to happen. And am open to whatever we have to do to find that first thread. And once we find the thread, then it's like, okay, we have that thread may lead us to anything, could lead us to in a million different directions. But something about having that glimmer that it's not we're not looking at a blank page. We're looking at, okay, we have the beginnings of, I would say a map, but it's a map that we don't know where it takes us. And it's just the beginning. It's just a start, you are here. What's it? If you have a map and it says you are here, even if you can't see the directions, knowing where we are feels okay. When something works, it's easy to be fooled into believing that's the way to do it or that's the right way. It's just a way, and it's just a way that happened to work that time. And this plays into when you get advice from people who have more experience than you. You explain your situation, they tell you their advice. The advice that they're giving you is not based on your life or your experience, it's based on their life and their experience. And the stories that they're telling are based on experiences they've had that have very different data points than yours. So maybe they're giving you good advice, but maybe they're giving you good advice for them and not giving you good advice for you. I would say being able to stay present in the work is probably the most important part of it. And how you feel is less of an issue unless how you feel gets in the way of you feeling how the work makes you feel. All the elements are here. Everything is here. We get to pick and choose. The conveyor belt's going by with the little gifts, and we can first we have to notice there's a conveyor belt. Then we notice the gifts, and then that's the starting point. And then we may even feel empowered enough to grab one of the gifts and open it up and see what's inside. And then maybe that's the start of something really beautiful that we wouldn't have done. Everything that I make or have made has always been based on something that I see or hear that allows me to see something that I didn't see before. If we pay attention, we'll hear a phrase, it'll trigger a thought, we'll see something unexpected. If someone recommends something to you, maybe it's a coincidence. If 3 people recommend the same thing to you, maybe it's not. Who knows? Who knows? I do believe the universe is on the side of creativity. And the universe is supporting things to happen. And they can happen through you, or they could happen through someone else. So if you're paying attention, maybe it'll happen through you.